On. Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Better Future Starts Here, a live weekly show brought to you by the American Society for the Positive Care of Children, otherwise known as American SPCC. I'm your host, career and public speaking coach, author, and advocate, Tracy Kawa. American SPCC is dedicated to improving the lives of children in the United States. We are America's voice for children, bringing individuals and organizations to ensure that children are raised in a safe environment so that they may thrive and become healthy and secure leaders of tomorrow. Our goal is to bring you perspective, knowledge, and support from industry leaders and professionals who are dedicated to empowering children and families. Today, we're happy to bring to you Jamie Levine. Let me tell you a little bit about Jamie. Jamie is a mother, author, and founder of Team Esteem. She's the creator of the Team Esteem approach to improving behavior. Jamie's decision to make this her life's work stemmed from her own years of academic struggle and a late ADHD diagnosis at the age of 20 while attending Boston University. Jamie received her master's in science in special education from Fordham University in 2001. She has extensive experience helping families and children struggling with social, emotional, and behavioral challenges, as well as speech, language delays, and sensory disorders. The Team Esteem concept was conceived in 2005 when Jamie realized the frequent frustration which manifests between a child's many service providers, parents, and educators. This disconnect often creates inefficiency, confusion, and an overall barrier towards a child's progression. School directors came to recognize Jamie as an expert and advisor who could handle the most challenging cases in and out of the classroom, opening lines of communication for all and raising the educational bar. Jamie currently works as a one-to-one teacher, training, placing, and managing other Team Esteem trained teachers and professionals. They offer parent strategy sessions, parent community workshops. Jamie is looking forward to the launch of her first online Team Esteem program for parents this spring 2021. Congratulations on that, Jamie. Yay! We know a lot. It takes a lot to get learning programs off the ground and those curriculums. So kudos to you. And I'm so excited that you're here. What a great set of credentials you have. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me and for that great introduction.
Yeah.
It's all true.
All right. We applaud you. So tell us a little bit about your passion for families and children.
So I love seeing positive change in families. There is nothing I love more. Maybe seeing that same positive change carry over into the classroom and other communities. So Team Esteem does that. We transform negative repeated behavior to socially appropriate practice across multiple settings.
I love it. I love it. So how do you raise a child's self-esteem through the creation of teams? You know, how is it that you do what you do?
So oftentimes when a child is struggling with their esteem, there's a behavioral issue closely following that. And parents don't recognize how much impact they have in a child's life, not just when they're younger, but when they're older also. So we look closely at how that team around that child, whether it's those parents or other caregivers or additional team members, are interacting with that child.
So what does that look like, creating the team? There's so much noise out there. There's so much going on. How do you select who should be on the team? How do you build that level of success? How do you build a child's dream team?
That's a great question, and a question that comes up all day, every day, whether I'm working professionally or just taking a walk with a neighbor.
Mhm.
I mean, team members have impact, right? Different people influence a child in different ways. So at Team Esteem, we call them high impact green team members. And then we have the yellow team members. The green high impact team members are the positive, green light, the good ones, the good stuff, the ones that just know how to talk to a child in a way that's going to get them the results, the behavioral or socially appropriate results that they're looking for. Yellow team members could be someone new to the team. It could be a new caregiver, or maybe a speech therapist, or perhaps there's a new boyfriend or girlfriend of a parent in the picture. These are what we call yellow team members, like questionable ones. And we're just trying to figure it out. But what we do know is when we're building teams, we want the green, good, high impact, solid, positive result people.
Is there a way to create a green out of a yellow?
Yes. Sometimes we have to wait and see and ask the right questions. And I do a lot of that with people. Often when families come to me, they are confused on how to build a team. They may say, we've got this new caregiver, or we're getting a neuropsych eval, or we just started working with a therapist, but we're not so sure we're doing everything right. Sometimes they're working with the right people anyway, and
Oh, I think we lost you.
keeps
I think something froze. Can you hear me, Jamie?
I can hear you. I know every now and then it does a little wind.
Can you say that last part one more time? Because I think I lost you on the ending there.
Sure. If I can remember. We want to always be building more green team members and think critically and carefully on who is spending time with our child. What impact and influence is that person, whether they're a green team member or a yellow team member, having in that child's life?
Tremendously important. So this year has posed so many challenges with the whole hybrid learning, online, in person. You know, some of the parents, some of the teachers are doing so well with this, and other parents and teachers are really struggling. What advice can you give? What have you noticed this year?
Yeah, it's been so tough for parents taking on multiple jobs, right? If they were working from home, now their kids are home. So many women are out of work and working from home. The statistics are pretty high on how we're all figuring out how to juggle that. Teachers are more stressed because they don't get those breaks, and now they're managing the schools and the home, and they're just also strapped for time. I think it's really important, given the world's current situation, that we can just let some things slide and not be so hard on ourselves and our children. We have to preserve our own energy as adults, as parents, as caregivers and teachers, so that we can show up better for our children. And our children really need us to do that.
So true.
Yeah, and I think also, like, there's other like important warning signs with children that we need to look at, like their own emotional development and social. If they're home doing the online learning thing, and then, you know, watching tons of episodes of like Gossip Girl or playing Minecraft for endless hours, we need to start paying attention to how long they're doing that and what's happening when they're not doing that. That's the healthy component of social emotional development that we really can't turn our heads from.
Can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by what's happening and what's not happening when they're not on their games or watching endless television?
Well, you know, because it's so difficult for parents, and we'll talk about parents right now, but for parents to catch a break, and kids' behavior that gets really like so sour and difficult to deal with, they end up being in denial, looking the other way, being ashamed, And then they're like, oh, they're going to go back to school soon. They'll handle it. But it's really not the case. Like, now is the time to be looking and catching up with our kids, so that when they are being put in environments to socialize, because we will all be doing that. It's going to take a little time, but it's happening. And in Florida, it's happening because people are outside, but still having that time to work on appropriate social skills is so key. And that all starts at home.
Yeah, that's so insightful. Years ago, let's say before the pandemic, not even years ago, we would send our kids to school, and it really always took that concerted effort to create a partnership with our children's teachers. And now it's even more vital than ever to create that partnership, to reach out. How is my child doing? What are you noticing? Even in a virtual world, what are you noticing? Is my child turning their camera on? Are they interacting? Are they participating? Right? All of those so very important to help our teachers help us with our children. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I think some kids are okay just like on their own. They got it together. And I think often schools, parents, or teachers, are complaining like it's the same parents that aren't involved or engaged, and the kids like just lost. And then there's the other parents that are a little more helicopter and like sitting right down there. And I think finding the balance where you can get your kid to be independent and know what they need to ask for. So it's important for parents to be checking in with their kids, like you said, how you doing? Is it all right with the camera? Are you having Zoom fatigue? Do you need to like get up and like shake around? Like, what do you need to do for yourself that's going to help you be a better learner? And just remembering to ask those questions is helpful.
I think that's very helpful, because we also come to an age usually where we start to begin our own learning patterns, like how we learn the best. Mm-hmm. So in essence, there is an element of that with helping our children to understand how well they learn and how they learn. Are you more auditory? Are you more visual? Are you more hands-on? That's also so important.
Yep. And I think, a big thing today is how kids are self-regulating, how they're keeping themselves intact, how they're interacting on a screen, how they're interacting in person. People see similarities between the two, like I was saying, but again, what we all need is socially appropriate behavior, self-awareness of what our body needs, what our body isn't comfortable with when we're learning.
I love what you just said. I think that was such a golden nugget right there, that we're essentially teaching our children how to self-regulate. We're not just teaching them to sit in front of a Zoom. We're not just teaching them to attend classes online. We're teaching them how to self-regulate. Thank you for that, Jamie. Do you have any success stories that you can share with us?
I do. I have lots of success stories.
We want to hear some.
I'm happy to share. So we are doing a lot of parent strategy sessions right now. Every new family that I am fortunate enough to work with, or new set of parents, they come to me so timid and so overwhelmed and ashamed almost that there are these behavioral issues happening at home and they don't know what to do about it, or whatever they're doing they know is not working or it's wrong. And that's not all wrong. There's a lot that they do right, but what they're feeling when they come to me is like just like a failure as a parent. Mm-hmm. Sure. And they don't always want to like rehash their kids' behavior issues with another person. So they're tired. Sometimes they've seen other therapists or evals before me. I'm different. And I sit them down and I say, listen, this is going to be fun. what you are looking at, these behaviors that you just shared with me on your background form, we're going to work on it. We start by looking at the esteem struggle and breaking that down. And we start looking at what's great about this kid, their esteem strengths. And I slowly begin to give them the language to change the way they're speaking to a child. So they may walk in, recently this happened, and it happens all the time, just parents kind of, and I'm always so grateful when I have two parents walk in, but I'll take one, that's fine too.
Right.
Or they're not pointing fingers, but they're like, well, he does and she does, and it's different. And they leave with a better understanding of how they can help each other as parents to get the secure feeling that they're looking for their family. Because they'll say to me, and this family just said it to me, we want our daughter to feel more secure at home. And parents know when they're fighting, when they have such different viewpoints, and that's coming out in front of their kids. And believe me, with everyone hunkered down at home, kids are seeing it all today. They're seeing it all. And then they have behaviors that stem from those conflicting parenting approaches. So, I mean, I love it. I see parents walk in like, and then they leave like patting each other on the butt or like laughing, or, maybe it's a little much on them, but they're just like, they're happier and they're more connected. And it's really just so loving and beautiful and just fills my cup and gets me going.
That's nice. That's great. I love what you said about offering parents a language by which they can communicate with their children. Because in our heads, we think we're saying something, but in reality, it's coming out a whole different way, and our child is hearing it a completely different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what they're hearing actually is, please stop fighting, and they'll say that, or they'll ask if parents are going to get divorced. And, again, so what does that do, right? They just adds another layer of anxiety to a child that already has their own anxiety. It could be COVID anxiety. It could be school shooting problem anxiety. It could be trauma drills. It could be, kids, it could be cyberbullying anxiety.
Wow.
Being mean to other girls. There's already so much to be anxious about in the world. They don't see parents confusing them even more.
Exactly. Parents, teachers, and caregivers, it's just so hard to be a kid growing up in today's world. There's so much for the children to be concerned with. Jamie, I just love what you're doing. If somebody wants to find you, where can they reach you?
Well, teamesteem.net, right there. That's one place. And then you can also follow us on Instagram at teamesteem_. And we have a lot of great content on our website and blog and Instagram. So you can definitely find us there and get some tips.
Is this it? teamesteem_ like that?
At teamesteem_.
At teamesteem_. Got it. So, So what other resources do you offer, just to, kind of give parents and caregivers an idea of where to start with you?
Sure. So our biggest resource at the moment are our parenting sessions, which I personally do and I love. We have one-on-one teachers available in certain cities, New York being one of them, the Palm Beach area also. And then we have our Team Esteem video program coming out, which is fully online, and worksheets to go along with that. And they're just short videos. They're super helpful for parents with the Team Esteem approach. They're coming out in the next 2 months or so. And if you want to pre-register and get some great early bird stuff, you can hop online on our website, check it out, and sign up.
So they can go to teamesteem.net and register for some early bird.
That's right. Early bird gets the worm.
I love it. I love it. The early bird gets the worm, and they're at Team Esteem on Instagram.
That's right.
So that is where you can find Team Esteem and all of Jamie's amazing program. So is there anything that you would like to leave us with today? Any specific content that we really didn't touch on, or any last final thoughts?
I would. Parents have got to be not just compassionate with their children, but with themselves. And I really want parents to remember, they do not have to have all the answers. They do not have to be perfect. Being perfect is not realistic, and no child needs to see perfect parents. They need to see real parents. They need to see parents that have a healthy expression of anger, of frustration, of stress management. Parents need to really verbalize what they need to say out loud so that they're role models for their children.
I love that. That's such a great point, because when we can acknowledge how we feel, then it allows our children to have that place of vulnerability where they can also acknowledge their own feelings.
Right. And it's human, right? And that's the other thing I love about my parenting sessions, is because all I do is say that like over and over, and the parents are
Yeah. I could breathe now. This is normal. I'm not right. This is a normal thing that
I think sometimes finding those words on how to say that is challenging for parents, but that's really what I help with, and that's what the Team Esteem approach is about, and helping each other, right? Like helping each other as parents, co-parents, divorced parents. Everyone has a team around them. Every child has a team around them. It's just finding your people, your like green go people.
Finding your green go people, finding your dream team.
That's right.
Jamie, I have one final question for you that came up for me as I was reading through your bio. It said that you were diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 20. What do you have to say to all the parents out there? I mean, I can't name names. Far be it for me to know anyone who has never been diagnosed with ADHD, but has a child with ADHD and maybe should have been diagnosed. So here they are kind of maneuvering through their world with so much going on, and then helping their child to stay on track. Because I do think that there were generations that, we know this. It's not even what I think. There were generations that weren't diagnosed, that never received diagnoses, or, we didn't have the term ADHD possibly. So what can you say to that group?
Yeah, that's a big one, because it comes up all the time. I work with families that have children that are getting this diagnosis and seeing this therapist. Then the parents like, I think I may have had a little. I'm like, you probably do, or you might, but maybe like I did pretty much my life up until I was 20 with a diagnosis, I tried to find strategies. So again, it's the same thing I tell parents on how to talk to their children. I tell parents, what works for you? Figure out what works for you as a learner, as a human being, as a parent. What helps you? Like, go where the good is. Do more of what's working for you and less of what isn't, and just be aware. Be really aware and be able to put the words to that thinking, because the words and the self-expression to that thinking is what really changes the game for everybody else.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank
you. I really appreciate that. We really appreciate you being here today. And, for anyone who missed part of this episode, you can find it on the AmericanSPCC.org website, where we host all of our A Better Future Starts Here episodes. So again, thank you so much, Jamie and the Team Esteem crew, for bringing us this really valuable information. So if you are a struggling caregiver, know that you're not alone. To access more of these positive parenting resources, visit our learning center, as I just mentioned, AmericanSPCC.org. Thanks to our viewers, our donors, and supporters, we've provided over 5 million parents, teachers, and caregivers with the tools needed to help children build a brighter future. I'd also like to remind everybody at this time to go on the American SPCC website, download that wonderful gamification tool, the Happy Child app. In short snippets, it will help you understand exactly how your child's brain works so that you can speak to them, meet them, connect with them on that level. Once we know how our child's brains work, then we can harness the lessons, alerts, and insights, again, to build deeper and more meaningful connections with our children. If you'd like to contribute to the conversation, or if you know someone who is uplifting and working with families in your community, please reach out to us at info@americanspcc.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We have a great list of guests from now through April coming your way on A Better Future Starts Here. I'm really excited. We have wonderful guests and panelists lined up for you. So join us here every week at 2 p.m. Let's make a difference together. Visit us at americanspcc.org to learn how you can help, and remember, a better future starts here.